Hi, I'm Miriam, co-founder and COO of Keto Chow.
I'm Chris, also a co-founder, president, and the technical guy behind Keto Chow. If you're brand new to Keto Chow, it's a nutritionally complete meal designed to help doing keto easy. We also have some electrolyte supplements that are amazing for everyday use and for keeping the dreaded keto flu away.
Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the little bell icon for daily updates on all our Keto Chow happenings. These live streams help us be accountable and stay on track. We love having you with us on our journey.
Now, this isn't actually a live stream. This is a pre-recorded one because the week that you're watching, we're actually going to be
off the grid.
Unavailable. So we're pre-recording this to answer some of we're doing all this entire week, answering some of the more common questions that we have. And today, what we wanted to talk about was powdered fats and Keto Chow. So
yeah, we get a lot of people asking if you can use powdered butter or powdered cream or even powdered MCT oil. And you definitely can use those things, but we want you to be armed with all the knowledge that you need to decide if you're going to do that.
Yep. So let me go ahead and pull up. There we go. Nice. So if you do a Google search for Keto Chow powdered fat, the two things that are going to come up first are both of these two articles. One's by Chef Taffney on different fats that you can, powdered fats that you can use, which is really good. She goes into just all sorts of, so here's Camper's Keto Chow, a scoop of Keto Chow, some MCT powder, heavy cream powder or butter powder.
Yep.
You've got some instant coffee creamer.
Yep, and those you can all make with the powdered fat and Keto Chow and keep it like in a container, so that's really cool.
Yep. Now, this other one is powdered fats with Keto Chow and rounding on nutrition labels.
Yes.
And in this one, so it gets into a little bit of details about Hoosier Hill Farms and Anthony's powdered cream, because this question does come up quite a bit. Can you use these powdered fats? Because people have discovered them and they're like, hey, this is so cool. I did the exact same thing when we were first doing Keto Chow. And I was really excited to have a powdered fat. And when you look at the nutrition label for these different powdered fats, they usually show 0 grams of carbs. The problem is they're showing 0 grams of carbs because of the serving size and because of the rounding. What you can put as far as on the labels, as far as rounding goes. So first, let's just get this out of the way. Can you use powdered fats with Keto Chow?
Yes, of course.
Yes, you can.
The reason why we didn't put powdered fat into Keto Chow is because of, well, a couple of reasons. It's not always dried on something healthy.
Yes.
For one, we want you to be able to control the amount of fat you put in each of your shakes or your, recipes if you're making recipes, and then the third would be.
Well, we also want you to be able to choose the amount and
the type. Oh yes, the
type.
amount and type. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, and then you were going to say something else.
I think that was it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me.
Okay. Yeah. So you can, but different people want to use different stuff now. And we don't want to take that away from people, because some people want to use cream cheese, or they want to use peanut butter, or they want to use butter, or they want to use heavy cream,
or coconut manna,
coconut oil, or any number of things. By having the fat included, that flexibility would no longer be present.
Which it's nice to have a shake that has everything included. I completely can see how that would be awesome. But this is also awesome.
Yeah. So getting back to, there it is. Okay. So yeah, this is something that's been asked for a lot. Is there a powdered cream that would work? So people would like it for the convenience factor of being able to just add water. It's perfect for hiking, and there's a link to someone who has done that. Or for uses when transporting in liquid is not an option, or you don't want to have to melt butter. But now there are 3 things, and typically a 4th thing, that are going to come into play. Okay, number 1, the volume of a powdered fat is going to be larger for the same number of calories.
So you're saying if you use 2 tablespoons of butter, you'd have to use maybe 4 tablespoons of powdered butter?
Something like that.
Well,
It takes up more space.
It takes up more space.
So if you are backpacking, for instance, it will use up more space in your pack to have a powdered fat. Period. It's not even something that's up for argument. That's the way that it's going to be, because you're taking a liquid and you're making it into a powder. So there's going to be air in there and something else to do it. Now, number thing is the number thing.
Number 2.
The mass or the weight is going to be higher for the same number of calories. So we'll take say you need 400 calories of whatever. So the volume is going to be larger for that same 400 calories. The mass, how much weight you have to carry around, is also going to be higher, because there's something that has to be used to make that fat into a powder. The cost is also going to be higher.
And it's quite a bit higher.
Yeah, in some cases it's not too bad, but if cost is your primary concern, don't use a powdered fat. If the convenience is your primary concern, then that may be some place where a powdered fat would work for you.
And it would be great for like food storage, emergency preparedness, because you can't keep butter in the basement for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just, I mean, I guess you can in your freezer.
Now you could keep coconut oil though.
Yes. So it isn't,
avocado
it's
oil.
still an option. And if you're starving, it's going to be better to have that than to have nothing, right? So it's still a great option.
Now, the last thing, and this is, for a lot of people, this is going to be the kicker, is the number of carbohydrates will be higher for the same number of calories compared to a liquid or solid, in case of butter fat. So if once we're getting back to the same, 400 calories of butter, a powdered butter will have a higher amount of carbohydrates. A powdered heavy cream, higher number of carbohydrates. Same thing with powdered, any of them. Yep. And the reason for that is because you need to use something to make that fat into a powder.
Yes, and that's what we were talking about. It's dried on. That may not make a lot of sense, but they'll spray dry a liquid with something else to make it into a powder. And a lot of times that's dextrose or maltodextrin.
Starch.
Yep, and we first learned about at least I first learned it. You probably already knew about this when we've been doing our manufacturing, and it was interesting to me because I wandered around to all of the different booths at KetoCon. Yeah, and I asked them, "What is your MCT powder dried on?" And most of the companies had no idea what I was even talking about. And so because
their ingredients would just say
MCT powder. And because it's so small, like the spray amount is so small, it's negligible. That's why they don't have to put it on the labels. But
a lot of times there's
there.
A 1-to-1 ratio of oil and whatever it's dried on.
Yeah. That's why people use sunflower lecithin. That's why people use, what is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
But
yeah, so you have to dry it on something. Now, there are some carriers that are suitable for a ketogenic diet for a powdered fat. If you're doing powdered cream and powdered butter, they can actually usually get away with very little carbohydrates. They can just spray it, and there's enough other stuff in there that it's okay, especially powdered cream and powdered, cream cheese. I think with both of those, you don't need a carrier. But with things like MCT powder or coconut oil powder or anything like that, you have to use, the ones that work well are acacia gum fiber, sodium caseinate, which is just casein protein powder.
Okay. Which sounds scary, though, if you don't know what it is.
And this one's tricky. You can also use soluble corn fiber. Okay, soluble. The difference between soluble and insoluble fiber. You are absolutely okay if you don't know the difference, because it's weird. Soluble just means if you put it in water, it dissolves and goes away. It dissolves into the water.
Into the water.
It's soluble. Insoluble fiber means you put water in it and it just sinks to the bottom and it's just there. So like the husks of popcorn, that would be an insoluble fiber. Um, Leaves and trees and bark and stuff like that. Wood be an insoluble fiber. It doesn't dissolve. Acacia gum, xanthan gum, there's a few things that it is a soluble fiber. That just means it dissolves in water.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't necessarily mean that your body can digest it.
Yep.
Or that it will impact your keto diet and your goals. The problem is that there are some soluble corn fibers that act as a sweetener, and absolutely your body can digest it, even though it is technically and legally able to be called a fiber.
Yep. That's where the whole soluble fiber comes in, and it's a little shady because you don't know what it is.
Yeah, there's nothing on the label when it says soluble corn fiber that will tell you definitively, hey, this one is an actual fiber, will not be digested by you. Your gut bacteria may be able to break it down, but it won't be digestible by you. Now, acacia gum is one of those. The FDA currently, as of this recording in 2021, does not consider acacia gum to be a fiber, even though your body doesn't digest it. And the funny thing is, your gut bacteria actually does digest it and turns it into short chain fats.
Well, maybe that's why they didn't want it to be a fiber anymore.
It's not. One of the criteria for
knows?
the FDA is that it has to be a functional fiber, and it has to like help your gut bacteria, which is one of the things.
Which is what it does.
Or it has to push food out the other end. And all of their criteria says that acacia gum is a fiber, but they decided that it's not a fiber.
Yeah, who was in charge of that?
I don't know. Anyway, neither here nor there.
Fine,
So we're back to powdered fats. So there are some that are powdered on acacia gum. There are some that are powdered on sodium caseinate, which is just casein protein powder, or soluble corn fiber. But again, if you see one powdered on soluble corn fiber, you kind of need to be a bit wary and like, okay, which soluble corn fiber is this? And the only way to really tell would be to maybe contact the manufacturer. They may or may not know.
Yeah.
Or try some and check your blood sugar and see if it goes up. But that'd have to be the only thing that you eat. Like just take a big old spoonful of that and see if your blood sugar goes up.
Yep.
Also, don't be like helping your teenager learn to drive at the time because your blood sugar will go up anyway.
True that.
Okay, so we are back to let's talk about some rounding. So here we got
nutrition labels.
On the nutritional labels. So here we've got a sweet cream powder. You know, if we pull it up, hey, it's Anthony's heavy cream powder. And look, I bought it. If you look on the nutrition panel, the total carbohydrate shows less than 1 gram.
Yeah, which sounds so great, right?
Yeah, the problem is, if you look, what's the serving size?
1 tablespoon.
Which is 6 grams.
That's not very much for your keto chow.
It's not very much. It's 45 calories. Like if you're wanting to use this to be a fat source in keto chow, say that you want 400 calories of fat, you would have to use what, 8-9 tablespoons worth?
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
And all of a sudden, that less than 1 gram starts to really add up. So, legally, they're only required to tell you how much stuff is in 1 serving. Well, I was actually able to find the nutrition specs for that particular dehydrated sweet cream powder. And in 100 grams, there happens to be 12.8 grams of carbohydrates, all of those being sugar. That's a very different amount from less than 1 gram.
And how often would people be eating 100 grams?
So 100 grams, well, 100 grams would give you 744
So that'd be
calories.
a lot. So you wouldn't be eating the whole 12 carbs probably anyway, but
You'd be
it's
eating
nice
about half
to
of
see
that, maybe.
the numbers a little bit differently.
Yeah. So instead of, well, if you look at the Amazon listing, you might be thinking you're getting
Oh,
like,
one carb.
yeah, just well, or less than one carb.
Mm-hmm.
When in actuality, you'd be getting maybe 6 or 7.
And honestly, like how many people really have a serving size out of a bag of something? It's always going to be 2 serving size. And I mean, not always, because of course you can measure it out, and I would definitely recommend doing that. But a lot of times it's more than a serving size, and a lot of times we just don't count that. We count it as a serving size, even though it's 2 or 3.
Yeah. Now, again, all of the information we're getting here isn't to tell you not to use
Yeah,
powdered
we just
fats.
want you to have that information.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got sweet cream powder. We've also got butter powder. Also,
And we searched and searched to find a butter powder that was good, and this is the best
Yeah.
one we found.
So Anthony's premium butter powder.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it again, the serving size is a tablespoon. It has less than 1 gram. Okay. So let's look at the actual specifications.
Mm-hmm.
So in 100 grams, there's 698. There's actually, strangely enough, a little bit fewer
That's funny.
calories. And I think it's because of the protein.
Oh, in butter compared
Which
to
is
cream?
strange because I think they're using, let's see.
That's funny.
They're using, butter, cream, and non-fat milk. So they're using the powdered butter is actually powder. It's butter that's powdered
On milk?
on dried
On
milk.
dried milk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they're using that, which is essentially casein protein.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is non-fat dry milk
Yeah, non-fat milk has more
has
sugar in
some
it.
sugar in it.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've got back to the butter powder. So it has 7.7 grams of carbohydrates
Okay.
with a good amount of protein.
Yeah.
Let's see, did I leave that open? Yeah, there's 10.6
Of
so
the milk?
in
Or the
the
sweet cream?
in the sweet cream.
Sorry, I just want to make sure we're on
Yeah,
the same
so
page.
sweet cream,
10.6
10.6.
protein, 12 carbs,
Yeah,
744 calories.
and then the butter powder.
13 protein, 7 carbs, 698
Yeah.
calories.
So they just have different amounts of stuff.
Mhm.
By and large, they're actually pretty
Similar.
comparable.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a very different amount of carbohydrates from the other one. Now, when we get into actual liquid heavy cream, and this is using the specifications from the US dietary guidelines, where they have really intensive, I mean, let me just pull this up. Make sure the link still works. That'd
Maybe.
be awesome if it
Yeah.
didn't.
That'd be good to find out. It looks like it doesn't.
Well, it's still loading.
Maybe.
No, it's still loading. Look at it go.
Okay.
And I am sharing my screen.
Everybody watch us load.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So you've got liquid heavy cream and you've got just regular, just run-of-the-mill butter. Okay. Where we can really see in this comparison, we've got carbs per calorie. And you start to get into these really low numbers.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's make this a little bit easier to do. Carbs for 1,500 calories. If you wanted to use this particular item 3 times a day, well, just for a random use case, you wanted to have your entire day be Keto Chow plus this source of fat.
Okay.
Well, Keto Chow is going to give you about 130 calories each, so that'd be 390 calories from the Keto Chow plus 1,500 calories from the fat source, for around 2,000 calories, give or take. But 1,500 calories from this particular thing just made the math really easy. It's very easy to understand. If you're doing 500 calories,
Per
it'd be a third of
shake.
these.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the sweet cream powder, and don't get me wrong, it says it's heavy cream powder, but it's not. When you actually get into it, it is a powder of sweet cream solids. Emphasis on the sweet cream. Oh, here we are back at this. So here we have.
Wait, what is that again?
This is liquid heavy cream.
Okay.
And
you get
you've
at the
got
grocery store.
really
A lot
of
of
data.
things.
All of this stuff right here is the specific, and this is per 100 grams. This, and it was updated in 2015. This is how many grams of this particular saturated fat, that particular saturated fat.
So-
The 8 and the 10, those are medium chain triglycerides.
Oh, okay. Do people know what that is?
They may not. So Just to explain
There's a
really
bunch
quickly,
of numbers associated with
Okay,
different saturated fats.
these are
apparently.
saturated fats.
Yeah.
How many carbons does it have?
Okay.
How many double bonds does it have?
So 4 carbons, 0 double bonds.
Yep. And each of these has a name. I think this is like caprylic acid and capric acid.
Apparently, it's just easier to put a number.
The numbers are a lot easier for me. So
Okay.
you've got how many carbons and how many double bonds?
So no double bonds in there.
No double bonds because it's fully saturated.
Yes.
Okay. Then you get into mono unsaturated. There's a single double bond. Okay. And it's just really interesting. So with heavy cream, it's 23 grams of saturated fats,
Great.
9 grams of mono unsaturated. So the only one double bond. When you get into polyunsaturated,
Wow, that's a lot more confusing looking.
yeah, so here you've got 2 double bonds, 3 double bonds, 3 with an I, 4, 3, 4.
We don't know what those are.
There's EPA and DPA.
Oh, cool.
Those are omega 3s.
0.009, 0.01.
They're not a good source of omega 3s.
Any of those things.
Well, it's not actually a very good source of any polyunsaturated, which is
good.
I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. And then here's all of the different amino acids.
Wow, that's crazy.
The USDA analysis is really cool. All the stuff they have. Okay, so we're back.
You didn't actually say the same thing as the other ones.
What?
You didn't say how many calories. You didn't say how many carbs. And you didn't say how much protein.
It's because it's here. Because okay, let's go back up to the top. Sorry. Okay, so looking at liquid heavy cream.
Yes, there's protein.
You've got 2 grams of protein,
Okay.
36 grams of fat.
Okay. And that sounds good.
Carbohydrates, 2.84.
Okay.
That's a lot less than
That's a lot.
12.
Yeah. And that's actual liquid heavy cream.
Yeah, this is liquid heavy cream.
In 100 grams.
Yeah, and then when you get into butter, we'll see how long it takes this to load.
Butter.
Butter is going to be, so you take heavy cream, you agitate it a lot, the water and the protein comes out, and you're left with butter. It's mostly just the fats. Now, you can actually heat up butter and further separate what little remains of the protein and water and get anhydrous dairy fat.
Yep.
Anyway, so in butter, turns out there's 16 grams of water.
Okay.
Now, the cool thing is, because this is 100 grams, it's a percentage.
Yeah.
16.17%.
Would be 16%, yeah.
Okay. Carbohydrates, 0.06.
Butter wins.
I mean, that's like a rounding error right there. Protein, 0.85. I mean, there's hardly anything. You get down into, let's just really quick, 51% saturated fat.
Acids, yeah.
21% monounsaturated. And you get down to the polyunsaturated and it's 3%. That's kind of interesting. It's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
There are a little bit of what are considered trans fats, but they're not trans fats like you've heard about. These ones are actually created by nature as opposed to the ones where you take a vegetable oil and you change it to act like a saturated fat, even though it's not. Those are the trans fats that are absolutely terrible. Terrible. Okay, so we're back here at the handy little graph.
Handy dandy.
We're looking at carbs per 1,500 calories. So sweet cream powder, 25.
Yes.
It's not the end of the world, but
if you're staying under 20, you need to keep that in mind.
And this isn't like from fiber. This is actual sugars that are in the sweet cream powder. So if you are hiking or you're doing something like that, your requirements for carbohydrates may actually be a bit easier.
Yeah.
Like you could probably easily do 30 grams of carbohydrates and you'd be fine because you're hiking.
Which it's really great to use when you're hiking because then all you have to do is add water to it. You don't have to, just carry.
Yep. Okay, so then we've got butter powder, 16. Okay, again.
That's under 20 if you're doing 3 shakes a day. Yeah.
Well, in Keto Chow would be adding about 1.5 to 3 grams in addition to that, depending on the flavor that you're getting. Okay, then we got liquid heavy cream, which is, I consider kind of high in carbs. 1,500 calories of it will give you 12 and a half.
Yeah.
Then you get to actual butter, 0.126. Yeah, that's
So you're
kind of
like
nuts.
not eating carbs at all.
Yeah, that's like nothing at all.
That's
If you were to
crazy.
go even further and use ghee
Mm-hmm.
or clarified butter, it would be essentially zero,
Or anhydrous milk fat.
which is only available in industrial quantities. Okay. But yes, AMF. Now, the cost. Now, this is based off of, I pulled this up like, what, a year ago?
Does it say when the post was posted so you can see the date?
February 28th, 2020.
2020. So yeah.
It's
a
when
year ago.
I happened to have gotten the specifications
Oh, yes.
that exactly matched Anthony's heavy cream powder and butter powder. And I was like, let's do an analysis. Yeah, I've got real data.
Math it up.
Okay, so the cost, now this is going, okay, this is probably changed. So the Anthony's cream powder, oh, it's now $12.99.
Mm-hmm. And what was it before?
It was $14.99.
Oh, it's better now.
And the butter powder is $11.89. So it has gone down.
That's
I
good.
should probably do an update on this.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be super different.
Yeah.
This 665 is actually going to be closer to 614.
Yeah.
And the 614 is going to be closer to like 610 or something like that.
5 something.
Okay. Because it's not too much of a difference. But compared to just getting heavy cream or getting butter,
Mm-hmm.
it is significantly more expensive to use the powdered version.
Yep.
So now we come down to, okay. So again, does the convenience of having a powdered fat outweigh the costs? That's really up to you.
Also, one thing that we never talk about is taste. It's going to be different tasting. If you've ever had powdered milk, it tastes like powdered milk. The heavy cream and the powdered butter are no different. They have a little bit more grittiness to them. And if you're aware of that, then you're fine. But we just, want you to know that it doesn't always taste the same as what it would be if you made it with butter.
Well, and the funny thing is, so with powdered milk, have you actually ever read the instructions for powdered milk? It specifically tells you to mix it up and put
leave
it in
it
the fridge
overnight. Yeah.
And this, I know this from experience from back when I was a kid. I couldn't have regular milk.
He was allergic.
I could have powdered milk. Mm-hmm. If you mix up powdered milk and put it in the fridge the day before, it tastes really a lot like regular milk. Mm-hmm. It also costs less, which is funny that
this costs more.
Yeah. But with powdered cream, let me go back here. If you go to the Anthony's, where is it? Here it is. For 1 cup of heavy cream, add a half cup of heavy cream powder and 1 cup of water. Leave mixture in the fridge overnight.
Oh, it says mix with an electric mixer,
Mm-hmm.
so it won't have like chunks or anything. And then also, with regular butter and regular cream, like you can have different problems. If you mix your cream too long, you can make butter. If you don't melt your melt your butter in your Keto Chow, you could have chunks. So there's all kinds of variables.
So, yeah, and as Miriam was saying, we've experimented a little bit with heavy cream just for our own use, and it doesn't quite taste the same.
Yeah,
it doesn't have that. This tastes
satisfying
like liquid ice cream.
Taste.
It's don't get me wrong, it's still better than most protein powders when you're using powdered heavy cream.
Yep. And I would still recommend you look into it, find out about it, and maybe keep some for emergency preparedness reasons, because it's a good idea. Also, you can have avocado oil stored in your food storage, and that lasts for a long time. So and coconut oil, like Chris was saying. So those are all really good things that you can use on a ketogenic diet. And then if there's a problem, if pipes freeze or tornadoes happens or whatever, you'll have something to get you through.
Yep. So there you go. Anyway, that's what we wanted to talk to you guys about today. Mm-hmm. So
have a great day, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.